La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beloved viewers of MTA Africa. We welcome you to yet another interesting episode of your favorite program, Journey to Islam. As you know that in this program, we bring to you converts into the fold of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community for them to share with us their stories of conversion. On today's episode of Journey to Islam, we have with us Mr. Taofeek Ajibade Sahib, who is Vice Principal Academics at Mike Fees International School, Ibadan. Mr. Taofeek Sahib, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We are excited to welcome you to this episode of Journey to Islam.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much, sir.
So, Sahib, to start with, we'd like to know who Mr. Taofeek Sahib is. Can you please introduce yourself, tell us about your family, your educational background, as well as your religious affiliation before joining the fold of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community?
All right. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan. My name, as you have said, is Taofeek Ajibade. I'm a native of Kuta in Osun State. I actually grew up in Mudakeke, another town in Osun State, and that was where I had my primary education and part of my secondary education. Later, I moved to Oshogbo to complete my secondary education. And later, I gained admission to study economics education at Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agowo in Ogun State. And after completing my first degree, I also moved to the University of Ibadan to study educational evaluation at master's level. So that is my academic journey. I'm married, and Alhamdulillah, the family is blessed with kids as of today. And before joining the Jamaat, I didn't really have a specific Muslim community. I can say I just had a my specific leader were our teachers when we were attending Arabic classes at early age. So that was just it. Apart from that, there wasn't any specific Muslim community that I was affiliated to.
MashaAllah, that's really interesting to know. So now tell us how your journey to Islam Ahmadiyya began. What were the experiences or were there specific incidents that led to you accepting or and signing the bayat by joining the fold of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community?
Jazakumullah khairan. Like I said earlier, part of my secondary education was in Modakeke. The other part was in Oshogbo. While I was in Oshogbo, destiny actually took me to the care of my late uncle, Alhaji Abdul Latif Bolarinwa, who was an Namadi with his family. So I was with him while trying to complete my secondary education. So it was from him that I got closer to the Jamaat and eventually signed the Bayat. That was around the 1999 year 2000. So, and specifically because I was under his care and I was attending Jamaat programs with him, though not so frequently, because it was just the option I had then. Though I was also attending some mosque, but just for prayer. For any Islamic program, I was attending Ahmadiyya. It was later that he observed my seriousness that he actually asked if I would like to sign the bayat. That was in Oshogbo, Ahmadiyya Central Mosque. I still remember the address, 36 Agana Street, Oshogbo. So Alhaji Daramola was the missionary in Oshogbo then when I signed the bayat. So that is just it.
So after signing the buyer, were there any probably before even your signing the buyer and accepting Ahmadiyya, did you face any personal doubt about the Ahmadiyya Muslim community or any personal challenges you were facing at that time? Were there any?
Yeah, I remember when I was much younger in primary school specifically and up to early days, early years in secondary school. Even Ahmadiyya, there was an Ahmadiyya mosque close to our family residence in Modakeke, just about 3 buildings away. So anytime we would just pass by the side of the mosque, I remember we were addressing them as Olomodie. That's a community of a few persons. So that was just it. And the only understanding I had about Ahmadiyya. And like I said, there wasn't really much doubt about Islam or thereabout. You know, this denigrating word of Olomadi was the only thing I had. So later when I joined the Jamaat, I had access to the library of my uncle and I read a few books. I remember them back then in Oshogbo too. They will bring copies of the Review of Religion. So that actually fascinated me. I was reading. I remember I read every copy of Review of Religion. I read so much that if anyone would say anything, I can tell that it was that statement was made in this copy of Review of Religion. So reading Review of Religion I moved to other literature by the Jamaat, and that settled the case. So there wasn't really any doubt by the time I could be asking certain questions. What about this? What about that? And even people who were asking me questions, I was able to
So you were
provide
able to make
answers.
personal research and
Personal
personal
research,
studies.
yes, it was my personal research that helped me. I remember one of my friends, there was one man who made an audio clip, a recording. He circulated that audio. Cassette was very popular then against the Jama. Arujari Ahmadiyya, Arujebi Ahmadiyya. My friend got a copy of the audio and he brought it to me. Have you listened to this? This is what he said about Ahmadiyya. And that was supposed to disturb me and my belief, honestly speaking, because for someone who has just joined the Jamaat, it was an unsettling clip. But Alhamdulillah, my background knowledge, my personal research made it so easy for me to even answer many of the questions that were the points that were raised in that audio. So I was replying him back to back that this is not, this is the answer, this is the answer. And that settled the case.
Alhamdulillah, that's really interesting to know. So, still moving further, during your conversion process, were there any aspect of the Jamaat teachings or practices that resonated with you mostly during your conversion process that actually even propelled you to accepting the community?
Yes, the first is the simplicity, the teaching on simplicity and what do I call this? Being humble, humility. I remember one thing. The former state president, that's a state coheed of Majlis Kudam in Osun State, when he left the office, when he was there as state coheed, his secretary, we call Mutamad, the two of them, when they graduated to Ansarullah, one of them became the Jama president. The other one became the financial secretary. The irony is that the one who was the Mutamat became the Jamaat president. The one who was the state coheed became the financial secretary to him. And it was very funny. I was like, how could you just allow that? This is a community where somebody with barely primary education will be the head or will be giving instruction to a professor, and there will be no question about his authority. So that simplicity, that humility was actually a point of attraction to me while joining the Jamaat. And seeing that, I felt this is a place to remain for the rest of my life.
That's really interesting to know. Before moving to your uncle, you made mention of the fact that you were staying with your uncle and that actually assisted you in converting to Ahmadiyya. But of course, before that, you were with your parents and you have your family members. What were the reaction like when they heard you eventually become an Ahmadi? Were there any reactions from them?
Okay, Alhamdulillah. After joining the Jamaat, My dad is just actually is a Muslim by name, not by practice. So he personally didn't have any interest in any specific Jamaat. So there was no opposition from his side other than, hey, don't be too religious. That is not why you are here. That was his only statement. And for my mom, like myself, when we were growing up, she didn't have any specific Muslim community that she was affiliated to. And my conversion was through our own brother. Yes, I'm a blood brother. That's Alhaji Abdulateef Bolarinwa, whom she gave the utmost respect. So to her, there was no how Alhaji could have misled me. If you are joining Jamaat through Alhaji, then it should be the right Jamaat. Alhaji was actually a respected member of the family and the head of the family. Yes, so that is just it. No opposition from either my parents or other family members.
So, but after your conversion, were you able to probably convert your parents, or did anyone also join the fold of the community?
Well, inshallah Aziz, I am hopeful one day they will join. In the past few years, I have been able to take my mom to our Jalsa Salana. Each year, we have always gone
That's the
together.
annual conference
And
of
the
Jamaat.
annual conference of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, which is held in Ilaro. So in the past few years, we have been going together. Even though we don't live in the same place, we don't even live in the same state. So I would just tell her, it is time we're going. Please be around. And she could be around even a day or 2 days before the event. So I am hopeful that over time, when things become even much easier, she will be able to join the Jamaat. And for my dad, what I have been able to do is to get him to pray as a Muslim. Like I said, he's just a Muslim by name. So I can say he's a traditionalist, if I want to be very specific. But now he observes prayer. Except for a few cases, he can pray 5 times daily. And Allah, it is the grace of Allah that has come from my side to him.
So, still moving further, Mr. Taofeek Saib, can you describe any stereotypes you heard about the Jamaat before your conversion? Were there any probably from people you were living with? Of course, you made mention of Olomide, that is a very few Muslim community, but were there any other ones that you were hearing then?
Yes, apart from that one, which I myself was even guilty of, because I was joining other and say, hey, this is my dear mosque. And I will pass by the side of the mosque to the community central mosque each Friday. But when I grew up and later joined the Jama, I remember a specific incident where one of my brothers around, who was an Alpha, he saw me in front of Ahmadiyya Muslim Mosque in Agana, Oshogbo. So he didn't say anything. I didn't even see him actually. It was the second day or the third day that we saw, and he told me, I saw you at the gate of Ahmadiyya Jamaat. Are you a member of the Jamaat? I said, yes, inshallah. He said, as radiant as your face is, why did you go to join that Jamaat? Then I wanted to ask him question, but he didn't really wait, and that was where it ended. And since then, I can't say I had any stereotype by being a member of this Jamaat.
Beloved viewers of MTA, if you are just joining us, this is Journey to Islam, and our guest today is Mr. Taofeek Ajibade Sahib. He has told us about his conversion story, how he eventually converted into the fold of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community as a result of the influence of his uncle. And as a result of that, he has been a very active member of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. We are still learning more from him. Do stay tuned as we listen to more inspiring stories from Mr. Taofeek Saib. Mr. Taofeek Saib, so after converting to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Alhamdulillah, we know you've been a very active member of the Jamaat. Can you tell us some of the posts you have held in the Ahmadiyya community?
Alhamdulillah, I have heard many. honestly speaking, from the first day that I became a conscious member of the Jamaat. I remember my very first post was being the financial secretary of Majlis Kudama Ahmadiyya Oshogbo. And later, I became the Mutamad. My brother Dahoud was our Mukom Kohit then. So after becoming the Mutamad in Oshogbo, I moved to Ofa, where that was when I went for my ND. So I was also
You also had a national diploma in what?
yes, that's accounting.
Accounting, okay.
Yes. So my handy, I mean, during my time in Ofa, I was also an executive of the Jamaat and a secretary to AMSA there. Brother Ahmadi Muslim Student Association, Brother Ajayi Moiz was our president. I still remember that. So after there, I moved to Agowoye, where I had my university education, and that was where it started continuously up to this time. There, I was Nazim Atfa in Noru Jebu, where I was living. I later became the Nazim Tarbiya for the Ijebu Dela then. That Dela was later split into two. I mean, has been split into two now. I was the Kohid Mukom for Oru Ijebu, and later I left. I was also this Jama secretary. Yes, I was the finance secretary at one point in time for Oru Ijebu, and I was also the Jama secretary at another point in time within the same Oru Ijebu. When I left there and moved to Ibadan, I was also the Mukom Kohid for Arima Jama.
Do you have any post in the Ahmadi Muslim Student Association?
Jazakumullah Akwara, it escaped my mind. I started as a secretary, Ahmadi Muslim Student Association, and later I became the president of Ahmadi Muslim Student Association
That's of
for Olabisi Onabanjo University. So first as secretary, later as a president. So after graduating, I moved to Ibadan.
So during the course of you serving the Jamaat, and of course, we are also studying alongside, did you face any challenges? Because some of our students today, when they are in school, they believe it's very difficult to face studies as well as to give time to the Jamaat. Tell us some of your experiences then while you were studying.
Alhamdulillah, it was a smooth experience for me, combining Jamaat activities with my studies. And for most people who actually focused majorly on studies, I cannot say they did any better than we did then. And if I want to be specific, some of them did even worse. So there was one case of someone who was always with the books, this, no time for, or less time for Jamaat activities because they didn't want to fail. Eventually, they failed. Meanwhile, there was another person in the same department who you will always find him in the mosque for Jamaat program. And people were like, are you sure you are studying this particular course? Because that was a course everyone dreaded. That you can't be studying this course and you will have time for Jamaat program. But this is a man that had all the time for Jamaat program and excelled in his studies. He didn't just excel. I remember he became the president of his school of study. Yes.
So that's only through the sheer grace of the Allah the Almighty. That's really interesting to know. So tell us, what are the significant changes you witnessed in your life after accepting Ahmadiyya?
Alhamdulillah. One of the significant changes I have seen in my life, like I have said, one of the things that attracted me is the simplicity, the humility. Joining this Jamaat has made me so humble and to take things so simple, and that has brought me peace of mind. The humility, the simplicity is a major part of me, and My spirituality has actually so improved. Yes, I can say that. Different from what it used to be why before I joined the Jamaat. And as I grew up, these things grew with me. That is what I can say.
Yeah, I'm actually come to that aspect of your spirituality, your relationship with God. After accepting Ahmad, if you could like to give more insight into how you have actually improved in terms of your relationship with Allah and your worship.
Alhamdulillah. Before now, Tajud was just during Ramadan. It was just during Ramadan. It was after joining the Jamaat that I learned that Tajud is supposed to be an everyday thing. And since then, I have never looked back. And praying to Allah, even if I spend just 15 or 20 minutes, I know that my prayer has been accepted. That is the teaching, another teaching that we actually got from the Khalifa, that if you can raise your hand, pray to Allah, then just believe that your prayers are accepted. I also remember that even when I was seeking to go for my master's, I wrote to Khalifa and I was not waiting for a reply, honestly speaking, because my belief was that once my Khalifa can get my a letter, then this prayer will be accepted. And it was every single detail that I included in the request that was accepted as.
You just mentioned about the Khalifa, and I was about asking you that you should tell us how your relationship with the Khalifa of the time has improved over the years. If you can kindly give us more insight to this.
The first is that Alhamdulillah with the MTA, and I even Alhamdulillah for smartphones now. On the go, I can listen to Khalifa. It's not even a case of I had to be at home to turn on the TV to see the Khalifa speak. No, every time, every day, I am always in love with listening to the Khalifa. That's apart from writing to him. Many a time people have come to me to talk about things they have. I have this issue, I have that issue. Please write to Khalifa. If I have any issue, I write to Khalifa. And I have never regretted writing to Khalifa. It has helped me to literally. This is not even any like.
Can you share one or two experiences that as a result of writing to the Khalifa, your prayer got accepted or any instance?
When I wanted to go for my master's, like I said earlier, I didn't have a dime. And I wanted to. And I was disturbed as to how I'm going to do it. So I just wrote that, Khalifa, I have this plan for my master's, though I don't have any money to pursue it, but I know Allah can come in a miraculous way. Please remember me in your prayer. I wrote to Khalifa. I think I later got a reply, but that was long after the admission. I didn't gain the admission. I was already many months into the program. But here is the catch. While I was writing, like I said, there was no dime with me. After writing, I told a couple of persons, and finance started coming in from left, from right, from front, from back. I had enough money that was the first time I paid. I mean, the first time I paid thousands as my chandaha. Yes. Well, I remember the excess I got for my admission and fee then. Said I paid. When I paid to my finance secretary, it was like, have you got a government job? Said no. So where did you get this money to pay China? So well, Alhamdulillah, I got the money, Sha, and this is it. This is it.
So I was surprised as a student how were you able to pay
Yes,
that
that
such
how
kind
are
of
you
amount.
able to pay such a huge amount? And if I get it correctly, I'm not too sure there were three persons in the Jamaat that was paying as much as at that time. Yes.
So we are gradually coming to the end of the program. We would have wished to continue discussing with you, but due to the want of time. On a final note, what advice do you have for our viewers out there? Especially, let's start with those who are yet to accept the Ahmadiyya community. The advice for them, as well as those who are already in the community. So, what will be your word of wisdom or advice for our viewers out there?
All right. For those of who are still contemplating joining the Jamaat, I would say they shouldn't take the word of the Jamaat for it. Just go ahead and research. Pick up the Jamaat literature and read. If those things don't clear your doubts, then you can come forward to ask questions. But I am very certain that anyone who takes the time to read Jamaat literature will have no question to ask. And it is even available on the web. So it is not a case that someone is hiding anything. If I go, I remember even when there was not this kind of smartphone we're using, when it was still the feature phone, or when we had this Nokia that could browse. That was back then we were accessing alislam.org. I was even fascinated by the interface of that the web page. So I was always going there to read this. So people can go there to alislam.org, go to the Jamaat library on it. You have access to all the literature you read. Join the Jamaat. You don't even, because Jamaat will not ask you whether you are from Jamaat A or Jamaat B when you join any program. Look, observe what they do. If it is any different from what Islam has taught us to do. So if people can do this, I'm very certain they will have only less questions to ask the Jamaat, and they will have no doubt in joining the Jamaat.
And to those who are already in the Ahmadiyya
And those
fold,
who are already in the fold of the Ahmadiyya, well, it is a blessing that should never be let go. And the only way not to let this go is to fulfill your bayah. I have signed a bayat and I've said my 5 times daily prayer. We will go. I will always pray 5 times a daily. I will continuously offer my tajud. I will respect the institution of the Khalifa. I will give all my best for upholding the cause of this Jama. Everything that we have in the 10 conditions of Bayat, anyone who is able to follow it as a member of the Jama, they will have no problem in their life. And most importantly, read the literature of the Jamaat. I remember that was how I became the friend to to our late father, Alhaji Abdulgani Ahmad, popularly known as A.G. Ahmad. He loved reading, and he will love anyone who loves reading. So go and read the Jamaat literature. You will find all the answers. And you wouldn't even have to be calling all the missionaries. They are missionary. Somebody is asking this kind of question. How do I
you
reply them?
become a missionary
You
yourself.
become a missionary yourself, because the Khalifa say every Ahmadi is a missionary. So it makes it so easy. Like Yoruba will say, Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ kẹ́ni tí ò wá kó jàre wa. If you are a member of the Ahmadiyya, it is incumbent upon you to uphold the conditions of Bayat, so that you will be able to reap all the benefits as a member of this Jamaat.
Jazakumullah khair, Mr. Taofeek Ajibade Sahib, for your presence on
Barakallahu
our
fi.
show today. We so much appreciate your wealth of knowledge that you've shared with us. Beloved viewers, this is how far time will permit us on today's episode of Journey to Islam. We have heard it all from our guest. He accepted Ahmadiyya as a young boy, but he also researched and ensured he is really sure of what he has accepted. He has studied the Jamaat literature and he is convinced that what he has accepted, the fold of Ahmadiyya community he has joined, is actually the true way. And he has also advised us, especially those who are yet to accept Ahmadiyya, you can also go online, study, do personal research, and ensure that you join the fold of Ahmadiyya community. And for us who are already in the community, he told us we should continue to remain firm. We should continue to stay strong and know that we are expected to fulfill our conditions of bay'ah. For further questions, comments, or inquiries, kindly reach out to us via africa@mta.tv. Till another time we come your way with another episode of Journey to Islam. We say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah.